Hey guys, I'm Austin with Everyday Nerd, and today I just wanted to chat about my thoughts and predictions for Tesla insurance. Currently, it's only being trialed in California, so if you haven't heard of it, that's probably why. But when they roll Tesla insurance out to the rest of their fleet outside the confines of California, I think this is going to signal a massive, just absolutely massive shift within the automotive insurance industry, and that Tesla is going to benefit the most from this. But before we get into that, please destroy the like button for my video. It helps me with the fickle YouTube algorithm gods and will just help my channel as a whole. And if you feel so inclined, please subscribe to my channel as well, because that will also help me a ton. So with that being said, let's get back to it. Okay. So before we dive into Tesla insurance and why I think that's going to be a pretty massive move for the company, I figured it wouldn't hurt to look at the existing automotive insurance industry so that we can gain some context and some appreciation for the monster moves that Tesla is going to be making in this space and why they're probably going to come out on top, whereas everybody else is going to be hurting. In the automotive insurance space, you've got 10 companies who are pretty big. These companies control roughly 72% of the, automotive insurance pie. And within that top 10 list of companies, you've got 3 companies, State Farm, Geico, and Progressive, who control about 42% of that 72% pie. So they control more than half of that majority, which is pretty massive. And to help give you an idea just how massive these guys are, State Farm, for example, controls about 17% of that 42% slice, and they had profits of roughly $42 billion last year. Then you've got Geico, who is still pretty chunky. They come in at about 13% of that 42% pie, and their profits were roughly $33 billion last year. Even looking at Progressive, who is the smallest of the 3, they control about 11% of that pie, and their profits were roughly $27 billion, which is about $2 billion shy of Tesla's profits last year. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Now, what's really impressive is that between those 3 companies, we're looking at profits of roughly $102 billion. Just to be fair, those numbers that I just gave you guys aren't only from automotive insurance premium payments. These companies also insure other products and other assets. So even if we were to assume that their revenue, or a tenth of their revenue, came from automotive insurance premiums, that would still mean that State Farm, for example, is walking away with $4.2 billion, and that Progressive at the lowest end of the 3 company spectrum, so not a very wide spectrum, but that just means that Progressive's profits from their insurance premiums would still be in the neighborhood of $2.7 billion, which is a massive amount of money. So then that gives us a good idea of the kind of money that's being left on the table for Tesla to just swoop down and grab. All right, so here's the part of the video y'all came here for. And before I go over my napkin math and my educated guesses, I just want to let you know that these numbers are based off of current vehicles delivered that we at least know of. So this does not factor in any vehicles that are currently being delivered or have been delivered within Q4 of 2020. And with that out of the way, I think that actually makes these numbers even more impressive because, as you'll hear in a second, well, they're massive, and as an investor, I'm absolutely freaking thrilled. As of right now, Tesla has about 1.1 million vehicles out there on the road, at least that have been officially confirmed. As I said before, there are more that have been delivered in this final quarter of 2020. We just don't have those exact numbers, so I ignore them entirely. Now, before I get into the specific numbers, I just want to let you know that I split everything out into a 20% category and a 30% category. And that for each category, I went ahead and split everything out into quarter, half, 3/4, and entire fleet increments. Let's just look at the worst possible, well, I guess worst possible case would be nobody buying Tesla insurance, but I don't see that ever being an outcome unless they decide not to push the product. So let's look at the less revenue friendly side and check out the 30% category first. Now, if only a quarter of the existing Tesla fleet was to adopt Tesla insurance, they'd be sitting pretty at revenue of roughly $823 million annually. Then if we bump it up to half of the fleet, we'd be looking at about 1.6 billion, and then 3/4 of the fleet would be about 2.4 billion, and then the entire fleet would potentially account for almost $3.3 billion. And that's with the customers experiencing the maximum potential savings, according to Mr. Musk. Now, if we look at the 20% side of things, which is where Tesla will generate more revenue, and the customers will save less, but still save more compared to the incumbent auto insurers, the numbers are obviously better. So with hypothetically only a quarter of the fleet adopting Tesla insurance, we're looking at profits of about $941 million. At half of fleet adoption, we're looking at profits of around $1.8 billion, so almost $2 billion. 3/4 of the fleet adopting Tesla insurance, we're looking at roughly $2.8 billion. And then for entire fleet adoption, we could possibly be looking at about $3.7 to $3.8 billion, almost $4 billion. I don't know about you guys, but in the process of making this video and doing all this research, creating these numbers, and then looking at them and letting them sink in, I'm pretty floored. I mean, I figured Tesla was getting into the insurance industry in the first place because it made sense. It was going to enable them to provide an overall better, or at least superior, customer service experience for, well, the customers. And I assumed they'd be making a profit off of this, but I didn't realize the windfalls could be that massive, actually. It's kind of stunning. I mean, their profits were, what, about $25 billion in 2019, and we're looking at profits of potentially almost $4 billion off of only existing vehicles. I mean, if they sold 0 vehicles in Q4 of this year, 2020, and didn't sell a single vehicle in the future, which would be awful for them, they would be bringing in billions of dollars of revenue, assuming just a little bit more than a quarter of their fleets that they have delivered to customers bought Tesla insurance and paid those premiums. That's astounding. And this company is trying to, they are trying to exponentially increase the deliveries every financial quarter. So you've got hundreds of thousands of vehicles hitting the road every few months. I mean, these numbers are only going to dramatically increase. That is assuming that, as I've said before, Mr. Musk was not being overambitious or did not overestimate Tesla's capabilities of being able to charge lower premiums than their competitors. So if he's not wrong, even if they're only slightly off, I feel that moving to Tesla's insurance offerings, unless they are somehow inferior, in which case, why would they be offering these products in the first place? I feel that Tesla owners would see acquiring and switching over to Tesla insurance as an absolute no-brainer. So I feel as if there is a humongous amount of untapped financial potential here for the company. And if they deliver, it's going to be Tesla's equivalent of printing money. And that's pretty awesome for them. It's pretty awesome for the company, pretty awesome for us investors, and it's also going to be awesome for vehicle owners, even if they haven't invested in the company. Dang, guys. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you liked what you heard, please like the video. And if you liked it a lot, please subscribe to my channel. That would help me out with the YouTube algorithm gods immensely. And I would also be incredibly appreciative. In fact, I might be so appreciative that I would even bless your child in person, even though I am not a religious figure. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.